Many projects incorporate borders and accents, which are usually stamped first, before filling with a main pattern. These templates, especially borders and flexible borders, can easily move out of alignment when stamping, as they're generally small and light. It is encouraged to set these types of templates using a hand tamp before running your plate compactor over them. The hand tamp creates a small depression in the softened asphalt that reduces movement. Once perfectly placed, gently step on template and set in a few spots. The more you set it, the less chance of movement. Once set, have a couple people stand on the template at either side of where the plate compactor will enter and drive straight onto the template at 90 degrees. Rotate 90 degrees and move at a consistent speed with the person anchoring the template. The person anchoring the template should try and limit the open space between them and the plate compactor to ensure it doesn't move. Run back and forth over template until stamped. When you continue stamping your border, interlock in the pattern at least 3 to 4 bricks. Entering on the interlocked area will reduce the risk of movement and allow you to straighten the plate compactor while moving. Stamping the main pattern is done with all the same techniques. Layout lines need to be followed and the template needs to be properly placed. Due to the weight of the wire rope templates, there will be less chance for movement, but it is still important to have someone stand on the template and anchor it for the first pass of the plate compactor. Duratherm templates will need 2 people to stand on it for the majority of the stamping process, as these templates can easily move due to their weight. Entering onto the template should be done on asphalt that has been softened properly. So the plate compactor operator needs to be aware of where asphalt has been heated and where they are running the plate compactor. If the template is positioned outside of an area that you want stamped, it is easy to accidentally run over that area and make a mistake. Ensuring that the entire template is stamped to depth is critical. It is recommended to go back and forth in a very methodical way to ensure that every square inch of the template has been stamped. Running the plate compactor back and forth, overlapping slightly over the width of the entire template, then changing direction 90 degrees and repeating the process will reduce the chances of not stamping properly. The speed that the plate compactor runs will play a huge factor into how the pattern stamps, so you will probably travel faster over the first pass and slightly slower over the second pass. Slowing the speed over dense areas on the template could mean the difference in getting a proper stamp. Again, it is extremely important for the end product that all grout lines are stamped to 100% depth and have stable, rounded edges. Interlocking the pattern to be stamped into the area that has been stamped makes alignment easier. Entering on this overlap will also limit template movement. Borders and accents are usually installed first, then will require you to bring your main pattern into them. First, place the previously stamped border or accent back into the area that has been stamped, as this will protect the stamp pattern and provide a clear visual of what you need to stamp up to. The main pattern overlaps the previously stamped border or accent and you simply stamp up to the template without going over. With some practice, you should be able to get fairly close, which will minimize the tie-in work that needs to be done to connect the 2 patterns. It is very important to not stamp into the overlap, as you will create a stamp in an area where it does not belong. This creates a double stamp which needs to be repaired before coating. The coating accentuates the mistake and will not be accepted by the customer. Repairing is quite simple, as you are just working with asphalt, but it is time consuming and any mistakes will drastically affect your productivity. Care and understanding of where the plate compactor is stamping should always be top of mind. An important part of stamping asphalt is the finishing detail. Finishing involves connecting and closing the pattern where needed so all the grout lines connect. Finishing is extremely important for the look of the product and is done with the handheld finishing tool or with our finishing bits and specified hammer drill. The easiest way to finish is to use one of these tools immediately after stamping when there is still heat in the asphalt. Stamping as close to the overlapping pattern as safely as possible will minimize hand tooling. If finishing is not done immediately, the area will need to be softened again using the border heater or the street heat gun. When working with rectangular spaces like crosswalks and inserts, it is sometimes possible to stamp the main pattern first and place the border afterwards. If done properly, you can heat the area including the border Quickly stamp the main area and still have enough heat to stamp the border. The benefit of stamping the border after the main is that it allows you to use the grout lines created by the main pattern for the border. This usually saves some time in layout and can reduce the amount of finishing needed. Please note that this technique can only be used in certain spaces where the appearance of a rectangular shape inserted into the asphalt is acceptable. When stamping this way, one should be careful that running over or parking on hot asphalt that does not have a template in place can cause the pattern to fade out and may need to be stamped again. Whenever running the plate over a stamped section, always make sure that it is cool enough and will not rub the print out, or make sure a template is in place. Remember, a little water can also help cool the surface. The best way to increase productivity when stamping is to always try and keep the plate compactor stamping. This requires the heater to keep productive and always have a softened section ready to go. Another area of stamping that contributes to productivity is plate compactor placement. Getting in the habit of parking the plate compactor close to the next area to be stamped and ensuring that it is started, has gas, and ready to go when needed will make small differences throughout the day that can make a big impact at the end of the day. Stamping is the most important component in producing a quality project. Areas not stamped properly will jump out after coating has been placed, as the surface texture will be different. These areas will look different due to shading from the lack of consistent grout lines. Grout lines should all be connected and closed and should be the same as the patterns being used. Stamping every inch of your project to 100% depth is relatively easy and needs to be done before coating is placed. An inspection should be done before coating to ensure proper depth. Areas not acceptable should be marked and re-stamped. Lastly, care has to be taken to avoid double stamping. Double stamping is from running over the template when it is not positioned properly. Coating over these areas looks horrible and needs to be repaired before coating. Positioning and use of different templates is always changing, but the stamping concept always remains the same. A proper stamp with stable edges is a matter of understanding and controlling temperatures while taking template density and plate compactor force into consideration. We discussed the different stamping techniques, from installing borders, overlapping patterns, as well as those that can be used to make it easier and increase productivity, such as placing borders after the main pattern in width flexible areas. Stamping offers many critical aspects for decorative appeal and performance of the products. Stamping to depth, finishing, and preventing double stamping are all key topics to understand on site. Quality and productivity are important in moving forward. The more you install, the more efficient and better you will get.